They called for saviors, but Earth sent its beasts. The galaxy had grown quiet, too quiet. Systems that once buzzed with trade and communication now seemed to whisper, as if holding their breath. Far beyond the core worlds, in a small star system named Vierlia, panic had spread like wildfire. Its inhabitants, the Vierlians, were peaceful beings, tall, with translucent skin that shimmered in the sunlight of their three small suns. They were skilled in science and art, but they had never known war. And now war had arrived. From the edge of their system, massive fleets of black and silver ships poured in. The Craven Dominion, a cruel and merciless alien empire, had claimed countless worlds across the galaxy. Their ships were jagged and dark, designed to intimidate and destroy. The Vierlians, for all their knowledge, had no real military power. Their orbital defenses were outdated, their fleet was small and fragile. Desperation drove them to the only choice left, a distress call, a signal that could reach any race willing to answer, asking for saviors. The message crackled through space, a mixture of fear and hope encoded into a language that most intelligent species could understand. "Help us! We are under attack. We cannot survive alone." As the signal left their system, it traveled faster than light, racing across the galaxy. The Vierlians could only wait, hoping that anyone would hear. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the signal did not go unnoticed. Humanity had long been underestimated by the galaxy. The major interstellar powers viewed Earth as primitive, a planet of soft, unremarkable creatures. They did not know the truth. They did not know that humans had quietly prepared for exactly this moment. Earth was different. Earth had grown strong in ways the galaxy could not see. Humanity had faced dangers that no other species had survived. They had fought wars, tamed wild lands, and engineered their own survival. But this time, humanity would show the galaxy a new side. Far above Earth, in a secret orbital station hidden in the shadow of the moon, humans gathered. Scientists, military commanders, and strategists crowded around enormous holographic displays, showing the Vierlian system under attack. "Do they even know what they are calling?" asked General Kale Ryden, a veteran of Earth's most dangerous conflicts. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned with determination. Commander Lyra Voss, head of the Human Defense Initiative, shook her head. "Most likely they expect some kind of standard fleet, not what we are about to send." "What exactly are we sending?" one of the younger officers asked, his voice trembling slightly. Kale smirked. "We are sending our beasts." The room went silent. The term seemed almost mythical. Humans had kept their most advanced creations secret for decades. The beasts were not ordinary soldiers or machines. They were a combination of biology and technology, humans enhanced in every way, hybrids bred for strength, intelligence, and endurance. Some were humans genetically modified to survive extreme environments. Others were massive mechanized warriors, capable of moving through space, land, and water. No alien could face them and survive, not easily. The signal from Vierlia had acted as a call to arms, but it had also revealed something else. The galaxy was unprepared for humans at their full strength. Humanity had been underestimated for centuries, and now it was time to correct that mistake. In Earth's hidden shipyards, massive war machines were waking from stasis. Their engines roared to life with a sound that could be felt across miles. Human pilots, trained from childhood for these moments, climbed into their control chambers. They were the best of the best, elite soldiers enhanced with reflexes, endurance, and strategic minds that could rival any computer. "Prepare for launch," Kale ordered. His voice echoed through the station. "Today, the galaxy will learn that Earth does not send diplomats or negotiators. Earth sends its beasts." Light years away, the Vierlians watched the skies darken with fear. The Craven Dominion had begun their attack in full force. Their ships carved through the atmosphere of Vierlia's largest planet, weapons firing beams of energy that tore through cities. The Vierlians tried to evacuate, guiding small transport ships through planetary defenses, but it was chaos. One Vierlian leader, Silatren, stood on the observation deck of the capital city's main tower. Her translucent skin glowed faintly in the dim emergency lights, her eyes wide with terror. "They are everywhere," she whispered, her voice shaking. "How can they fight back? How can anyone survive this?" Her aide, a young Vierlian named Torin, shook his head. We cannot. We have no warriors, no ships capable of defense. We can only pray." Scylla clenched her hands. Prayer had not helped them so far. Cities were burning, ships exploding in orbit, and the Dominion's forces were moving with precision. Then, unexpectedly, the signal arrived. Not a human ship, but the first hint of them, a strange ripple through space that only the most sensitive instruments could detect. From Earth, the first vessels jumped through the hyperspace corridor. They did not arrive quietly. The Virelians would later describe them as monsters from the stars, immense ships with surfaces like living metal, engines glowing with unnatural energy. From these vessels, the beasts would emerge. As the humans approached, the Craven Dominion noticed something unusual. They laughed, assuming these small, seemingly primitive vessels were insignificant. Another primitive species, the Dominion commander sneered. They will die quickly like all the others. But the humans were not ordinary. From the hangars of the largest vessel, colossal figures stepped forward. Humans enhanced with strength and speed, some clad in exosuits, others controlling mechanized beasts that towered over the tallest buildings. These were not soldiers. They were predators, engineered to survive impossible conditions and to strike without mercy. The first human commander to set foot on Virelia's surface was Major Kine Holt. He had trained for years for this moment. His eyes scanned the battlefield, taking in the burning cities, the frightened civilians, and the enemy forces. His voice was calm, almost casual, as he spoke into his communicator. "Beasts, move forward," he ordered. Instantly, coordinated movement spread across the battlefield. The mechanized units adjusted their positions, hybrid soldiers leapt across obstacles with ease, and human squads advanced with precision. Every move was calculated, yet adaptable, reacting to the Dominion's attacks in real time. The Virelians could hardly believe their eyes. These humans were not fighting as a fleet or army. They were fighting as a single, terrifying organism. Machines, humans, and hybrid beasts moved together with deadly efficiency. Scylla Tren could only watch as a Dominion ship descended toward the city center, intent on destruction. Then, without warning, a massive mechanized beast leapt into the path, catching the ship with arms of reinforced steel. Energy blasts that would have destroyed an entire city were deflected, and the ship was hurled away like a toy. We are saved," Torin whispered. He could hardly believe it, but the humans were just beginning. Kine Holt knew the Dominion would not stop with small attacks. The galaxy had underestimated humans for centuries, but Earth had learned to survive, to fight, and to dominate. This was not mercy. It was the first lesson of a species that refused to be ignored. From the shadows of a nearby canyon, a hybrid human beast observed the battlefield. Its senses were enhanced, its instincts sharp. It moved silently, scanning the enemy for weaknesses. When it struck, it did so with precision, dismantling weapons and incapacitating enemies without hesitation. It was terrifying, almost alien in its efficiency, but it was human in its cunning. The Virelians began to understand something fundamental. Humans were not like other species. They did not rely solely on technology or numbers. They used creativity, adaptability, and courage in ways that no alien race had anticipated. Across the system, more human ships were arriving, each carrying additional beasts and hybrid soldiers. The Dominion forces had numbers, but humans had strategy and something else, fearlessness. Kine Holt addressed his units again. "Protect the civilians, take the fight to them. Show them that humans do not come to negotiate, they come to win." And when they did, the Dominion's first assault faltered. Ships exploded or were captured, and their ground forces were pinned by human tactics no one could predict. Even the Virelians, who had called for help, began to realize that the saviors they had hoped for were far beyond anything they had imagined. By the time the first day ended, the Dominion forces were retreating, disoriented and wary. The humans had arrived as saviors but fought as beasts. Scylla Tren could hardly contain her awe. I do not understand," she said softly. "How can a species so small defeat such power?" Kine Holt's voice came over the communicator, calm but firm. "We are not small. And this is only the beginning." The stars above Virelia glowed faintly, reflecting the fires below and the strange, terrifying shapes of Earth's beasts moving across the battlefield. For the first time, the Virelians felt hope, and the galaxy began to take notice. Somewhere in the dark, the Dominion commander cursed under his breath. "Humans, we should have never ignored them." But it was too late. Humanity had arrived. Humanity had sent its beasts. And the galaxy would never be the same. the sun rose over Violia, casting pale light across a planet scarred by battle. Smoke still curled from cities that had been razed the day before, but there was no time for despair. The Craven Dominion was regrouping, their fleet spread across orbit, ready to strike again. Their arrogance remained. They still thought the humans were weak, unorganized, and primitive. They could not have been more wrong. From the far reaches of the system, human vessels appeared in formation. Unlike the jagged and dark Dominion ships, Earth's warships were sleek and imposing, yet organic in design. Their hulls shimmered as if alive, absorbing light and reflecting it in patterns that were almost mesmerizing. The Viorlians, still hidden in shelters, gasped when they saw them. "Are those ships?" one whispered. They look alive." Major Kine Holt stood on the bridge of the flagship Ardent, observing the Dominion fleet. He spoke calmly to his officers, but every word carried weight. "This is not just a battle for Violia. This is a lesson for the galaxy. Show them why humans are underestimated at their own risk." From the hangars, the beasts emerged. They were unlike anything seen before. Some were massive, towering figures in advanced exosuits, muscles enhanced with synthetic fibers, moving with terrifying speed and precision. Others were hybrid creatures, part human, part engineered predator, designed to survive extremes of heat, cold, and radiation. The first human units to disembark were the Sentinels, agile soldiers equipped with advanced armor and energy weapons. They moved in perfect coordination, scanning the battlefield, analyzing enemy positions. Each Sentinel seemed to anticipate the Dominion's moves before they even happened. Behind them came the Titans, colossal mechanized war machines controlled by human pilots. Their arms were armed with massive energy cannons, their legs capable of leaping hundreds of meters at a time. They roared as they landed, sending vibrations through the planet's crust. The Dominion ships in orbit shook as if the planet itself had risen to strike. Kine Holt's voice cut through the comms. "Beasts, advance. Protect the Viorlians, but show no mercy to the Dominion forces." The beasts obeyed instantly. Their coordination was perfect. Hybrid soldiers leaped over craters, their claws slicing through Dominion troops before they could react. Titans fired in unison, obliterating enemy vehicles and cutting through orbital bombardment with precision shields and counterattacks. The Dominion soldiers froze. They had faced many species before, but nothing like this. These humans did not follow the predictable patterns of traditional armies. They adapted, improvised, and struck with terrifying efficiency. A Dominion commander shouted, frustrated, "Target the humans first." "They are small, destroy them." But the humans were already gone. They had melted into the chaos, appearing where the Dominion least expected. Hybrid soldiers dismantled artillery, Sentinels captured supply lines, and Titans crushed enemy fortifications. Each move seemed impossible, each victory instantaneous. In the streets of the capital city, Viorlians peered from hiding. Scylla Tren could hardly believe her eyes. The humans were not just fighting, they were dancing with war itself. They are unstoppable," Torin said softly, awe in his voice. "I have never seen anything like this." Scylla nodded, her hands trembling. "They are not ordinary beings, they are beasts, but they are human." Above the battlefield, Dominion ships attempted to regroup. Their lasers cut through the atmosphere, targeting human forces. But the humans were prepared. Energy shields absorbed most of the damage, while their hybrid soldiers used the terrain, moving through craters and ruins, avoiding direct fire while disabling enemy weapons. One human, a hybrid named Eric Voss, led a squad behind enemy lines. His senses were enhanced, allowing him to detect Dominion soldiers even before they were visible. With a swift motion, he disabled their weapons, freed trapped civilians, and disappeared into the shadows. The Dominion troops felt like prey, hunted by something that was both human and something far more dangerous. Meanwhile, the Titans moved like unstoppable mountains. One in particular, piloted by Captain Mara Zhen, leapt across a valley, crushing a Dominion transport ship in midair. The explosion sent debris flying, but the humans pressed forward. The Dominion forces, though larger in number, were beginning to falter under the relentless assault. In orbit, Dominion ships attempted to fire upon the human vessels. Beams of energy cut across space, but the Ardent and its sister ships were faster, dodging attacks while returning fire. Small hybrid craft darted between enemy ships, sabotaging engines and disabling weapon systems. The Dominion fleet realized with growing fear that their superiority in numbers was meaningless against humans who thought differently, acted unpredictably, and fought with both mind and instinct. Holt observed the battle on the Ardent's bridge. He spoke over comms, his voice steady. "Remember, we do not fight for glory. We fight for survival, for Violia, and for every world that is too weak to defend itself. The galaxy thinks humans are weak. Let us show them what that really means." As the battle raged, a new layer of the conflict unfolded. Some humans had taken to the skies in winged exosuits, gliding between Dominion ships and orbital stations. They planted explosive devices, sabotaged shields, and disrupted communications. Dominion commanders had no time to react. Every time they tried to coordinate, the humans were already 3 steps ahead. Silatren and Torin watched from a high vantage point. Torin whispered, I think they might actually win. I think they might save us." Scylla's eyes were wide. I have never believed in such power. They are not just soldiers. They are something else entirely." Below them, a human hybrid known as Lysa Kor moved through the streets, rescuing civilians trapped under rubble. She carried them with ease, her enhanced strength allowing her to leap over destroyed buildings and debris. She paused only long enough to disable Dominion turrets before continuing her rescue. The Violians hiding nearby stared in awe. They had called for saviors, and these humans, these beasts, had arrived. The Dominion forces were not yet defeated. They regrouped, forming tight formations, trying to push the humans back. But every move they made was countered. Every attack they launched was anticipated. The humans were not just powerful, they were unpredictable, using strategies no other species had considered. One Dominion commander barked orders. "Focus fire on the Ardent, destroy it, and the rest will follow." But the humans had anticipated this. The Ardent and its fleet split, surrounding the Dominion ships in a formation that allowed small, agile human craft to sabotage engines while Titans fired from long range. Within moments, a Dominion cruiser exploded, sending shockwaves across the battlefield. The Dominion forces began to panic. Holt spoke over the comms again. "Do not stop. Protect the Violians, take the fight to them, show them that humans are not to be underestimated." As the humans advanced, the Violians began to understand something they had never realized. Humans were not just strong, they were fearless. They did not hesitate, they did not falter, and they did not retreat. Every human soldier, every hybrid, every Titan was driven by purpose, and that purpose was unstoppable. Even Dominion forces in orbit began to realize that these humans were unlike any enemy they had faced. One pilot whispered to another, fear evident in his voice. They are not just fighting, they are predators." Back on the surface, the humans moved through the battlefield like a single, coordinated force. Hybrid soldiers scaled walls and destroyed enemy fortifications from unexpected angles. Titans crushed enemy vehicles with terrifying force. Sentinels infiltrated Dominion command centers, disabling communications and sowing confusion. The Dominion forces were being dismantled piece by piece, their fear growing with each passing moment. Silatren watched the humans with tears in her eyes. "We asked for help," she whispered. "We did not know, we could not have known that they would come like this." Torin nodded. "They are incredible. More than saviors, they are warriors beyond imagination." The humans did not stop for applause or thanks. Their focus remained on the battle, on the mission, on the goal. And by the end of the day, the Dominion forces had been pushed back. Their ships fled orbit, their ground forces scattered, and their plans to conquer Violia were in ruins. Holt surveyed the battlefield from the Ardent. Smoke rose from destroyed ships, fire consumed enemy fortifications, and yet the humans stood unscathed. "This is only the beginning," he said quietly. "The galaxy has not yet seen what Earth sends." The Violians, for the first time in their lives, felt hope. They had called for saviors, expecting timid help or cautious intervention. Instead, Earth had sent its beasts. And in doing so, it had changed the course of the battle, and perhaps the galaxy itself. As night fell over Violia, the humans and their beasts prepared for the Dominion's next attack. The galaxy watched in awe. What had arrived from Earth was no ordinary fleet. What had arrived were predators, warriors, and saviors combined into one unstoppable force. The Craven Dominion would not forget this day, nor would the galaxy. Humans had arrived, and they had brought their beasts. And the story of the humans' strength, their courage, and their beasts was only beginning. The morning sun rose over Vierlia, casting long shadows across the war-torn landscape. Cities that had once gleamed under the light of three suns were now reduced to smoldering ruins. Craters scarred the planet's surface, and smoke from burning ships twisted into the thin atmosphere. Yet amidst the devastation, hope moved with purpose. Humanity's beasts were already on the march, preparing to confront the Dominion's next assault. The craven Dominion, humiliated by their defeat the previous day, had regrouped. Their fleets gathered in orbit, massive ships forming tight formations. Dominion commanders barked orders, determined to crush the humans and reclaim their honor. They outnumbered the humans, as always. They relied on technology, numbers, and overwhelming firepower. But humans were unlike anything they had faced. On the surface, Major Kine Holt stood atop a ridge, overlooking the battlefield. His hybrid soldiers and mechanized titans were already in position, moving with precision and coordination. The human's strategy was not one of brute force alone. It relied on adaptability, intelligence, and instinct, combining technology with the natural cunning of the enhanced humans and beasts. Kine spoke over the comms, calm but commanding. Positions are set. Remember, the Dominion expects predictability. Give them chaos instead. From the horizon, Dominion forces descended, their ships firing long-range energy weapons that tore through the air and shook the ground. Troops disembarked in organized formations, confident that their numbers and technology would overwhelm any resistance. They were wrong. The first wave of humans engaged. Hybrid soldiers leapt from the ridges, moving faster than the eye could follow. Their armor absorbed laser blasts, and their weapons discharged with precision, taking down Dominion squads before they could fire more than a single volley. Titans advanced in tandem, their massive frames cutting through vehicles and fortifications with ease. A Dominion commander, watching the battlefield from his bridge, shouted in disbelief. What are these humans? They move like a single organism. Focus fire." But focusing fire was useless. The humans did not fight like ordinary armies. They adapted, they anticipated, they improvised. From the shadows of a ruined city, a hybrid named Eric Voss led a squad behind enemy lines. His senses were enhanced, allowing him to detect Dominion patrols even before they came into view. With swift precision, he disabled weapons, rescued trapped civilians, and disappeared into the rubble before the enemy could react. Meanwhile, on the ridge, Captain Mara Zhen piloted her Titan across a valley, leaping over Dominion tanks and crushing their engines with devastating force. Explosions rocked the terrain, but Mara and her Titan moved as if the chaos were part of their rhythm. Every step was calculated, every strike deliberate. The Dominion forces began to falter. Their initial confidence, built on superior numbers and technology, crumbled under the humans' unpredictable tactics. They could not understand what they faced. Every attempt to regroup or counterattack was met with a new, unforeseen strategy. The humans used the battlefield itself as a weapon, collapsing ruins to crush enemy soldiers, redirecting energy beams with reflective surfaces, and using debris to block enemy lines of sight. Silatren, watching from a hidden vantage point, could hardly believe her eyes. They are not just fighting," she whispered to Torin. "They are controlling everything, even the battlefield itself answers them." Torin nodded, fear and awe in his eyes. "They are not saviors. They are predators." Above them, Dominion fleets tried to fire on human ships in orbit. Beams of energy tore through space, but the humans had anticipated this as well. Small, agile human craft darted between enemy vessels, sabotaging engines and shields. Titans with anti-orbital cannons struck from the ground, creating a crossfire the Dominion could not counter. Kine Holt watched the unfolding chaos and smiled faintly. "The galaxy expects us to fight like others," he said to his officers. "But humans fight differently. We do not simply strike, we adapt, we endure, and we survive." The humans' advantage grew with each passing moment. The Dominion's reinforcements were arriving, but they were met with unexpected strategies. Hybrid soldiers infiltrated supply lines, capturing resources and cutting communications. Titans moved in tandem with ground troops, creating zones of control that were impossible to penetrate. Even the Dominion's most advanced weapons were neutralized by humans' ingenuity. One particular Dominion commander, Zyrektal, had seen countless species conquered and defeated. Yet as he watched the humans, he felt fear for the first time in his career. He barked orders, attempting to coordinate his forces, but every strategy was countered. The humans were 3 steps ahead, moving with both intellect and instinct. On the ground, Eric Voss led a daring maneuver. He and his squad navigated a canyon to strike the Dominion's rear positions. Using terrain to their advantage, they avoided direct combat, silently disabling weapons, cutting communications, and freeing prisoners. When they emerged, Dominion soldiers were surrounded, caught off guard by a force they could not see coming. Meanwhile, Captain Mara Zhen and her Titan executed a stunning assault. Leaping across a ridge, she targeted Dominion artillery positions that had been bombarding human forces. With crushing strikes, she destroyed the weapons, opening the battlefield for hybrid soldiers to advance. The Dominion's formations broke under the relentless and coordinated human attacks. Scylla Tren watched, her jaw dropping. They are unstoppable," she murmured. "I have never seen a species fight like this," Torin shivered. "And we thought we were doomed." As the battle continued, the humans demonstrated another advantage: intelligence combined with instinct. They coordinated attacks in ways that no computer could fully calculate. Hybrid soldiers could sense danger before it arrived. Titans moved with precision even in unpredictable terrain, and human pilots adapted instantly to new threats. The Dominion had expected brute force, but humans used strategy, creativity, and fearlessness in equal measure. One of the Dominion's strongest assault units, a massive war walker, moved toward a city to destroy Virelian infrastructure. A squad of sentinels engaged it, darting around its legs and using precision explosives to disable its joints. Titans and hybrid soldiers coordinated with the sentinels, attacking the walker from multiple angles. Within minutes, it was immobilized and then captured, leaving the Dominion stunned. Holt spoke over comms, calm and commanding. "Do not underestimate the Dominion's next move. They will strike harder, faster. But remember, humans are not predictable. We fight smarter. We fight as one. Move forward." The humans advanced, slowly pushing the Dominion back. Virelians, hidden in shelters and caves, began to come out cautiously, watching the humans' progress. They saw not just saviors, but beings who could turn despair into hope with every action. From orbit, Dominion commanders began to panic. Their fleet was suffering heavy losses, their ground troops were scattered, and their carefully planned assault had been shattered. They could not understand the humans' strategy. No species had ever fought like this. No species had ever adapted so quickly. One Dominion officer whispered in disbelief, How can they do this? They are perfect." But the humans were not perfect. They were human. They fought, they learned, they adapted. They used every strength they had, but they also relied on courage, instinct, and unity. And that combination made them unstoppable. On the battlefield, Eric Voss's squad reached the Dominion Command Center. Using precise tactics, they infiltrated the building, disabling communications and capturing key officers. Titans guarded the perimeter, ensuring no reinforcements could interfere. Within moments, the Dominion forces inside the city were in chaos, leaderless and demoralized. Captain Mara Zhen, meanwhile, led a flanking attack with her Titan squad. They crushed enemy vehicles and blocked reinforcements from joining the front lines. The Dominion's formations were shattered, their soldiers fleeing in confusion. By midday, the Dominion forces were in full retreat. Their confidence broken, their fleets damaged, and their soldiers scattered, they fled toward orbit. But even there, the humans were waiting. Agile human craft darted between their ships, sabotaging engines and shields. Titans fired long-range anti-orbital cannons, forcing the Dominion to abandon their escape. The battlefield fell silent, save for the rumble of Titans and the hum of human technology. The Virelians emerged from their shelters, witnessing a sight they would never forget. Humans, their saviors, stood victorious, not just through strength, but through intelligence, courage, and relentless determination. Scylla Tren approached Holt cautiously. I cannot believe what I am seeing," she said softly. "How can a species so small be so powerful?" Looked at her calm and measured. "We are not small, and this is only the beginning. The galaxy has underestimated humans for too long. Today they have learned why that was a mistake." Torin, still in awe, whispered, They are legends already." "How can anyone fight them?" Kine's gaze turned to the horizon where the Dominion fleet lingered, battered but not defeated. "We will show them," he said quietly. "We will show them all." The Virelians began to understand a profound truth. Humans did not fight like other species. They did not rely solely on weapons or numbers. They fought with creativity, instinct, and courage, using every advantage they could imagine. They were not saviors in the traditional sense. They were something far more extraordinary. Above Vyrlia, the stars glowed faintly as human ships prepared for the next engagement. The galaxy was beginning to take notice. Whispers spread quickly. Humans fight differently. They are not to be underestimated. The Craven Dominion, meanwhile, fled in shock. Their arrogance had been shattered, their plans destroyed, and their soldiers demoralized. They had expected a routine victory, but humans had turned the tide with intelligence, strategy, and unmatched ferocity. And the humans were not done. Kine Holt addressed his forces over the comms once more. Prepare for the next wave. The Dominion will not give up easily. But we are human, we fight, we adapt, and we survive. Forward, beasts, forward. As night fell on the battlefield, humans and their beasts patrolled the ruined cities, ensuring the Vyrlians' safety and preparing for the Dominion's inevitable return. The galaxy had begun to see a new truth. Earth had sent not diplomats, not negotiators, but its beasts, and these beasts would not stop until the galaxy understood that humans were a force unlike any other. For the first time in Vyrlia's history, hope felt real. And for the first time, the Dominion realized that they had encountered an enemy they could neither predict nor easily defeat. Humans had arrived, and with them the tide of war had truly turned. The smoke of battle hung heavy over Vyrlia, drifting across shattered cities and smoking craters. The Dominion had retreated from the surface, but their fleets still orbited the planet, damaged but not destroyed. Dominion commanders were furious and humiliated, unable to understand how a so-called primitive species had turned the tide of battle so completely. Meanwhile, humans did not celebrate victory. Major Kine Holt and his officers surveyed the battlefield. Titans patrolled the ruins, hybrid soldiers assisted civilians, and sentinels secured strategic positions. But Kine knew the Dominion would not surrender easily. They would regroup, and their next attack would be faster, larger, and deadlier. "We cannot wait for them to strike again," Kine said, his voice steady and commanding. "We go to them. Let them feel the power of humanity before they reach the planet again." Across the battlefield, hybrid soldiers nodded, Titans rumbled in agreement, and human pilots readied their ships. Humanity's beasts were not only strong, they were relentless. From orbit, Dominion commanders watched in disbelief as human fleets began to advance. The humans did not wait for the Dominion to attack. They took the fight to the enemy. Agile human ships darted between Dominion cruisers, sabotaging engines and shields. Titans on planetary launch pads fired long-range cannons, cutting down reinforcements before they could land. Hybrid soldiers infiltrated orbital stations, disabling weapons systems and capturing key officers. The Dominion fleet panicked. They are attacking from everywhere," one commander shouted. "We cannot defend against this." But the humans were not attacking chaotically. Every move was precise, every strike calculated. They were teaching the Dominion a lesson in human ingenuity and adaptability, a lesson that no species had ever endured. On the surface, Eric Voss led his squad through the ruins of Vyrlia's largest city. They moved like shadows, taking out Dominion squads with precision. Buildings that had once been homes now served as vantage points, traps, and cover. Eric's team dismantled enemy fortifications, rescued trapped civilians, and cut off escape routes for Dominion forces. Each move was swift, silent, and deadly, yet no unnecessary destruction was caused to anything the Vyrlians still needed. Silatren watched from a high tower, tears streaming down her face. They are not just fighters," she whispered to Torin. "They are a force of nature." Torin nodded silently, unable to find words. The humans on Vyrlia were unlike anything he had ever imagined. They moved, thought, and fought as one entity, yet each human acted with individuality, creativity, and intelligence. Above them, Captain Mara Zhen piloted her Titan across the battlefield. Her massive war machine struck with terrifying force, collapsing Dominion barricades and sending soldiers fleeing in confusion. Titans and hybrid soldiers coordinated perfectly, forming lines of control that no Dominion forces could penetrate. One Dominion commander, Zyrek Tal, stared at the battlefield in disbelief. How can a single species move like this? How can they dominate every level of combat at once? He did not have time to answer. Mara Zhen's Titan fired a massive energy cannon, destroying his command post and scattering his troops. Zyrek's communication links were severed, leaving him isolated and desperate. The humans pressed forward, taking the battle into the Dominion fleet itself. Small human ships darted between cruisers, sabotaging engines and weapon systems. Titans fired with precision from the surface, striking weak points the Dominion had assumed were hidden. Hybrid soldiers boarded enemy vessels, capturing or neutralizing crews with unmatched efficiency. Kine Holt observed the battle from the Ardent, his eyes scanning every movement. "This is the galaxy's first real lesson," he said quietly. "Humans are not just another species. We are a force that adapts, endures, and conquers." On the ground, Eric Voss led a daring assault on a Dominion control center. Using the city's ruins for cover, his squad infiltrated the facility, disabling communications and capturing officers. Dominion soldiers who thought themselves secure were caught by surprise, forced to surrender or flee. Within minutes, the control center was in human hands, turning the Dominion's own infrastructure against them. Meanwhile, Captain Mara Zhen led a flanking maneuver with her Titans. They crushed enemy vehicles, blocked reinforcements, and created zones of control that the Dominion could not penetrate. Every action was deliberate, every movement a demonstration of humans' mastery of battlefield strategy. The Virelians, peeking from hiding spots, began to cheer softly. They had called for saviors, expecting careful diplomacy or minimal intervention. Instead, humans had arrived as something far greater, beasts of legend, a force the galaxy had never seen before. Even the Dominion's most advanced assault units were overwhelmed. A massive warwalker moved toward a city, expecting to destroy human forces. Hybrid soldiers and Titans combined to take it down with precise strikes, disabling its legs, cutting its weapons, and finally capturing it intact. The Dominion commander could hardly believe it. No species had ever captured a warwalker before. Kine Holt's voice came over the comms again. "Remember, we are not here to destroy blindly. We are here to show them the cost of underestimating humanity, protect civilians, disable, capture, and adapt. Forward, beasts, forward." The humans advanced like a single, unstoppable organism. Titans patrolled the streets, hybrid soldiers moved through rubble, and sentinels coordinated with orbital units to disable any remaining threats. Every Dominion attempt to regroup was met with a new, unpredictable strategy. They could not anticipate human movements, they could not predict human tactics, and they could not counter human adaptability. Scylla Tren's eyes glistened with awe. I have never seen such skill," she whispered. They are beyond anything I imagined." Torin nodded silently. "They are not just fighters, they are legends." Above Virelia, the Dominion fleet attempted a final strike, desperate to regain control. But humans had already anticipated this. Agile human craft darted through their formations, sabotaging engines and shields. Titans fired long-range cannons, forcing ships to retreat. Hybrid soldiers boarded vessels, neutralizing crews before they could react. The Dominion's confidence was shattered. Their numbers and technology, once their greatest advantages, now meant nothing. Humans had turned every strength against them, using creativity, strategy, and instinct to dominate the battlefield. Kine Holt watched the chaos with a calm, commanding presence. "The galaxy has underestimated humans for centuries," he said quietly. "Today, they have learned the cost of that mistake." On the battlefield, Eric Voss and his squad had captured the Dominion's central command post. With communications disabled and officers in custody, Dominion forces scattered. Mara Zhen's Titans continued to patrol, crushing resistance wherever it appeared. The humans had not only defended Virelia, they had taken the fight to the Dominion itself, showing the galaxy that humans were far more than a minor species. The Virelians emerged from their shelters, awe and relief written across their faces. They had called for saviors, expecting timid help or cautious intervention. Instead, humanity had sent something far more powerful, beasts that moved, thought, and fought with unmatched skill and intelligence. Scylla Tren approached Kine Holt cautiously. I cannot believe it," she said softly. "How can a species so small be so powerful?" Kine looked at her calmly. "We are not small, and this is only the beginning. The galaxy has underestimated humans for too long. Today they have learned why that was a mistake." The Dominion, meanwhile, limped away into the void, defeated and humiliated. Their arrogance shattered, their forces scattered, they realized too late that humans were not to be trifled with. Holt addressed his forces once more. Secure the system, protect the Virelians. The Dominion will not give up easily. But we are human. We fight, we adapt, and we survive. Forward, beasts, forward. As night fell, humans and their beasts patrolled the ruins of Virelia, securing the cities and preparing for any final attacks. The galaxy had begun to take notice. Whispers spread across distant worlds. Humans fight differently, they adapt, they endure, and they are unstoppable. The Dominion had learned a harsh lesson. Earth did not send diplomats. Earth did not send negotiators. Earth sent its beasts. And these beasts would not stop until the galaxy understood the true strength of humanity. For the first time in Virelia's history, hope felt real. And for the first time, the Dominion realized they had faced a species they could neither predict nor easily defeat. Humans had arrived. Humanity had brought its beasts, and the tide of war was forever changed. The stars above Virelia seemed to shine brighter, reflecting the fires of battle and the indomitable spirit of humanity. The galaxy had witnessed the turning of the tide, and it would never be the same. The humans' message was clear: underestimate them at your peril. The beasts of Earth were awake, and they would answer any call for help with strength, courage, and unmatched intelligence. The Dominion would remember this day for centuries, and the galaxy would watch, uncertain, as humans continued to reveal the full extent of their power. For now, the battlefield was silent but alive. Titans patrolled, hybrid soldiers moved through the ruins, and sentinels kept watch from the skies. The humans had not only won, they had set a precedent. The galaxy would no longer view humanity as insignificant. Humans were predators, protectors, and a force the universe could not ignore. And the story of the humans and their beasts was only beginning.